Luscious Liz, Red Bull's first Formula One title winner.
I want a one-word answer, very quickly. The Constructors' World Champion, Jonathan.
I've gone for McLaren.
Ferrari.
McLaren.
Red Bull.
Didn't we know that was going to happen? Didn't we know that was going to happen?
What the hell's that? I don't laugh when you give your answer.
Red Bull were obviously not always the dominant Hulk-like beast of a team they are now, and actually for a few years they kinda sucked. But then came 2010, a year that changed everything for the colourful cows. In 2008, Red Bull finished behind Toro Rosso with 29 points to the Toro Rosso's 39, their B team. One podium was the pinnacle of their success that year. Vettel moved up to Red Bull from the Rossos, and in 2009 Vettel finished runner-up to Button, driving that brawn. But belief in Red Bull wasn't strong. The general feeling seemed to be that they just did not have that little bit extra to actually win the World Drivers' title.
No.
Man, were we all wrong. 2010's World Drivers' Championship Red Bull winner, Red Bull RB06, which Vettel dubbed Luscious Liz, and the car Vettel in 2014 called his favourite Formula One car to drive in his career that far. Let's have a look at the story of Luscious Liz. Well, when we look at the design team of this car, we should have been giving some fierce shivers. But a rookie team had just won the title with Button behind the wheel, so surely the years of Newey's dominance ended when he left McLaren. Maybe not. The RB06 design team consisted of Adrian Newey, Rob Marshall, Steve Winstanley, Dave Warner, Mark Ellis, Andrew Green, Gilles Wood, Peter Prodromo, and Dan Fallows. Now for the average Formula One fan, there are a couple of names that you still know. 14 years later, Rob Marshall was with Red Bull until 2024 and now is at McLaren. Andrew Green is currently Chief Technical Officer at Aston Martin. Dan Fallows is currently Technical Director of Aston Martin. Peter Prodromo is currently Technical Director Aerodynamics for McLaren. And of course, Adrian Newey is the most successful designer the sport has ever seen. This team of geniuses, I don't know, would combine to start one of the most dominant periods in F1. The traditional big boys have never recovered. No longer would Williams, McLaren and Ferrari be the main peanuts in the Formula One packet. Now the sport would be the plaything of Red Bull, and they would later be joined by Team Toto. And as of 2024, this remains the case. The RB06 was powered by Renault and driven by a young hotshot Sebastian Vettel and fan favourite veteran Mark Webber. Definitely a solid driver lineup. An interesting note, as of 2023, the Red Bull RB06 remains the last customer-engined Formula One car to win the Constructors' title, due to the presence of Renault full factory teams on the grid. From 2011 to 15, Red Bull Racing was officially promoted to Renault Full Works Partnership Independent Team status, when Renault had sold off their factory team to Lotus or Gemini or whatever they were calling themselves then. That team has had more names than a Kardashian has had boyfriends. Let's have a look at the season summary. Pre-season, surely McLaren must have been the hot favourites for the title. Driven by defending world champion Button and Lewis Hamilton, also former champion. Powered by mighty Mercedes. Mercedes themselves had Rosberg and Schumacher. Ferrari had Alonso and Massa. We were heading for a title fight between all the big boys. 2010 would be the first season with the 25 points for a first, 18 second, 15 third, and then 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and 1, down from 4th to 10 point scoring system. Let's have a look at the first race, Bahrain 2010. Bang! Vettel put Luscious Liz on pole. So far so good for Team Horndog. No alleged scandals referred to here in 2024. No bad jokes here. Team Colourful Cow wouldn't have it all their way though, as Vettel's engine had a problem with a spark plug. Yes, Red Bull's engines were fallible back then. Wow, those were the good old days. Alonso won for Ferrari, and the Bulls finished 4th with Vettel's spark pluggy engine and Webber 8th. Next up in the land down under, Vettel again qualied on pole, and again a technical issue cost him the win. a loose wheel nut forcing the race leader out of it. Webber ended in 9th and Button won for my back then not papaya-coloured McLarens. In Malaysia, nothing broke and the RB6 shone bright like a diamond. The Bulls finished 1st and 2nd with Vettel winning. Button again won for McLaren in China. Oh, remember when McLaren were winning titles and challenging for them? I sure do. Then Webber awoke from his Aussie siesta or whatever they take down there and won the next 2 races in a row. Red Bull and McLaren were looking like the main peanuts in the 2010 title pack. Then came Turkey. Webber was leading when Vettel attempted a pass on lap 40 that ended with the 2 Red Bulls colliding, handing the win to Hamilton's McLaren. Red Bull now had a wee bit of tension build up between its 2 drivers. Hamilton would also win in Canada. Then the European Grand Prix. Webber did this. I believe in the pre-Halo era, Mr. Webber owes Jesus some thanks for keeping him alive in this crash. In Britain, Webber passed Vettel for the win after the team had removed Webber's new front wing and given it to Vettel after the German broke his in practice. Luckily, Red Bull have never been in the habit of not treating their drivers equally. Alonso, Webber and Hamilton would trade wins in the next 3 races, for Alonso would win the next 2 to set up the title fight nicely between himself, Button and Vettel. Vettel and Alonso would then trade wins before Vettel would win the final 2 races of the season to clinch the title by 256 points to Alonso's 252, winner by 4 points. Red Bull would also win their first Constructors' title with 498 points to McLaren's 454. The cold drink makers had done it. They were now world champions and the elite of the sport could no longer scoff. They were now dining at the big boys table and would remain one of the big boys themselves until when I'm making this video. The RB06 would win 9 races from 19 with 15 poles and 6 fastest laps to become Red Bull's very first F1 title winner. And that, friendly friends, is the story of Luscious Liz. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and sharing the video and have a look at some of the other playlists on our channel. I promise there's bound to be something that interests you. Cruisebop. Nana Scopella. Scouts honor. I promise. And any guys, thank you for watching. God bless you and goodbye.